This is Patty B within the hauler. I got another firearm I'd like to share with y'all. This is my Mosin Nagant M38, chambered in 7.62 by 54R. Go ahead and clear it, make sure she's good. All right, the Mosin Nagant M38 was a carbine developed during the Second World War to give rear echelon troops, non-infantry types, a smaller, lighter carbine than the standard Model 9130, which is what the infantry used for the Soviets during World War II. So for truck drivers and mortar guys and all those guys whose main job isn't to be in the infantry, they could have a smaller, lighter carbine, easier to carry. It's got a 20-inch barrel, give or take. It's about 40 inches overall and weighs about 7¼ pounds. So it is pretty short, light, and handy. It's got a 5-round magazine that you can either single load or load through stripper clips. It's got a nice steel butt plate, which feels real good when shooting full house 7.62 by 54R rounds. We got a provision for a sling. We got some sights that are pretty close to the 9130 style sights, rear and front. Cleaning rod. This one originally came with some red shellac style Russian finish that was half flaking off. Just looked like crap. So I just went ahead and stripped it, and I kind of liked the way the wood looked underneath it. So I just rubbed it with some linseed oil, and that's the finish you see here. The only downside of this carbine, even though it was nice and light and easy to carry, is it didn't have a provision for a bayonet. So if you were hunkered down somewhere and the Krauts were coming at you and you were all out of ammo, but you couldn't stick a 9130 bayonet on it, so you're gonna have to use this thing as a club. The takedown on this rifle is super simple, at least for just general field stripping. Is just put the bolt to the rear, pull the trigger, and the bolt comes right out, which gives you access to clean the bore, chamber, whatever you need to do. The safety on this rifle is pretty unique. Is you actually just pull back on the end of the bolt, and then you can slide it off to the side, and that keeps from being able to pull when you pull the trigger, the bolt can't go forward. To take the safety off, just do the reverse, pull it back, and then she's ready to go. So the story on this one, I've been collecting firearms since the early 90s, and I was never the biggest Mosin fan. I never hated them, but it just wasn't my thing. But I knew eventually I was going to have to get one just for my collection. And about 10, 12 years ago, a buddy of mine, he was just got married, and his wife didn't like guns in the house. He wasn't a big gun guy, but he told me, he's like, hey, I got a old Mosin in about 60 rounds that I'll sell you. And I was like, well, how much? And he said, 80 bucks. And I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna come pick it up. Now, I didn't know. I assumed it was a 9130 just because there's more of those around than anything else. But when I showed up to pick it up, this is what we got. So I was pretty happy to get the M38 carbine. It's in pretty good shape. The only downside is like I said, he gave me some rounds with it, but they were, I'm assuming, of the corrosive kind. They were surplus. And he said he only ever shot one box through it and put it in the closet. Unfortunately, since they were corrosive, the bore's not pristine, but it's not too bad. It passes the bullet test, and the rifling looks good in it. It's just in between the rifle and there's a little bit of corrosion, but that just gives you a little traction for the bullet, right? But she shoots fine, and it looks good. And like I said, I wasn't the biggest Mosin fan, but once you get something like this and you start shooting it, you can't help but like it. So this thing's definitely a little boomer, little small light rifle, chambered in a full house cartridge. If it's not, when you shoot it in the evening time, or if it's not real light outside, this thing throws a pretty nice fireball and kicks like a mule. But maybe that's why it's cool. I don't know. Well, anyways, let's take this war horse outside and see how she does. So right here with the Mosin M38, we got some surplus ammo. We're gonna do some shooting at 100 yards. The sights are pretty far off on these, but I kind of know where to hold. So, but I may not hit all of them at 100, but we'll see. So let's take some shots. Not too bad. It shoots really high and really left, but I'm doing what I can. All right, we'll take some shots at 200. We'll see how good I can do. I got to hold off pretty good, so this is just kind of a poke and hope kind of deal. But we'll take some shots at the 200-yard target and see what happens. Well, I hit it a couple times. It's hard to hit with this thing because sights are off so far, but it's still fun to shoot and kicks like a mule. All right, guys, final thoughts on the M38 after shooting it. So this thing's just a hoot to shoot, man. Little bitty gun, big old cartridge, shoots a big old fireball, kicks like a mule. So it's pretty cool. Although it is funny that I've had this gun for over 10 years and have yet to adjust the sights to make it hit to the point of impact, because at 100 yards, I got to aim about 3 or 4 inches off the plate. 200 yards, well, I got to aim double that off the plate. But, you know, I guess I didn't buy this for extreme accuracy. I just bought it because it's fun to shoot. And, you know, once I figure out exactly where it's hitting, you know, I can hit that 100-yard plate pretty easy. And 200, not quite as good, but this thing's still fun to shoot. So, back when ammo for this was absolutely dirt cheap, man, everybody had these and was shooting the crap out of them. But, you know, even before the ammo crunch of 2021, which is what we're in now, ammo on this has gone pretty high because I think most of the surplus is pretty well gone. But, you know, if you can find ammo for these, they're just fun to shoot and they got a lot of history. So, there you go, guys. Mosin Nagant M38. All right, y'all have a nice day.